Yes.
Yes, I'm ready.
Hello.
Welcome to CripChat, the weekly podcast for everything disability. Today I have with me Jonathan Shar, Ibby Day, myself David Day, and the treasurer of PWDA, Presley.
Thank you, David. Hello,
Please like
everyone.
and share.
Yes. Yep.
And if you got any comments, please put them in the comment box.
All right. Thank you, David. So yeah, please like and share. And hello, everyone. Welcome to CripChat, your weekly podcast for everything disability. Welcome, Presley. How's it going? How are you? So, how are you going, Presley? How's everything?
How are
looks like we've got a
you?
It's all good. Anyway, let's get into it. My apologies if there's any IT issues, but yeah, look at the federal budget is yeah, I heard it's coming up. So well, has already come out.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already come out.
It's coming out.
I think it's already come out. Anyway, look, let's hear from Presley.
It's
Presley.
Hi, it's Presley here.
How's it going?
So
tell us regarding the budget. Yeah, well, what can you tell us about the budget, Presley?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we have a bit of an IT issue. But before we wrap things up, well, not wrap things up, I get started.
Yeah.
Presley, tell us a bit about yourself and your role. Oh, we've lost Presley. All good. We'll just wait for Presley to come back in. There's a bit of an IT. So, Presley, tell us a bit about yourself and your role at PWDA.
Yep. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having me over. So I am one of the board members at PWDA. I'm one of the executive directors. So it's been a bit of a hectic couple of days. Waiting for the budget to be handed down, and also just touching base with all our members, just as well as other DROs, and trying to see.
Yep. Now, thank you for clarifying. So the budget hasn't come out yet, and we're just hearing what our people at Please to say in regards to the budget. So thank you very much once again, Presley, for being on the show. It looks like we lost him again. And look, before Presley comes back, David, what are your thoughts on the budget? The current budget and how it's affecting your daily living?
Well, the current budget, it's not enough. Everything's more expensive.
That's right. That's exactly right, man.
Everything's more expensive, but we're not getting extra.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. The cost of living is gone up. These fees are still as they are. So we're just trying to, I guess, work, 2, 3 jobs to, make us survive. But even in saying that, reporting to Zenlink, that also cuts down our wages. So is it really a fair go for us people with disability? I'll let the audience decide that. Outside the comments. Do you think it's a fair go?
Do we think if it's a fair go for disability and for everyone else?
Yeah. I think our people with disability are way worse. You'd imagine because then they have to cover their, I guess, living expenses, but also be making sure that the what do you call it, reporting requirements are up to date as well. And look, often or not, some people work substantial hours but get paid their minimum wage. That's also, a topic to be discussed. But anyway, we got Presley back with us. Hello, Presley. We just brought him back in.
Yep.
It's not a good day for the IT world. Welcome back, Presley.
Nah. It's not. It's actually on my end.
It's look, it's good.
Just trying to see if I
We'll
can
do what we can.
quickly fix it. My records on my and then cutting out. I'm gonna run it on.
Yeah, you can still hear us. Yeah, Presley.
Yeah.
Firefox and see if that will make a difference.
All right, let's go to the next question, John.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you very much for Presley for introducing yourself. Just to recap, Presley is the treasurer at PWDA, and talking about budget, the
Uh,
upcoming budget, and how it all
yeah.
affect people with disability. And we've lost him once again.
It's now it's flowing much smoother.
Nah, all good, all good. Welcome back, welcome back. Yeah. Um.
Do
So
you
let's
want to
get
start
onto
again?
it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Do you want to start again? Look, let's just keep going with this. So please President, tell us a bit about yourself and your role at PWDA.
So I got co-opted with PWDA back in March of last year. I'm one of the board members. I'm one of the executive directors. I currently hold the office of treasurer with them. I myself am a C7 quadriplegic. Um, and unfortunately, I'm a former registered provider as well. So I left that world to try and make a difference because I figured out we were part of the problem, not part of the solution. So it's been awesome doing the kind of work that we do with PWDA, and with quite a lot of advocacy, quite a lot of change in the sector as well. So it's been pretty good.
That sure is being on the advocacy journey. especially for people with disability. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Presley. So
Thank you.
I just talk about the importance of ensuring people with disability have a seat at the table in like reform processes. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, we've always, as an organization, PWDA has always been pretty much along the lines with everyone within the sector of nothing about us without us. We always need a seat on the table. At least if we don't have a seat on the table, we do deserve to at least be in the room where major decisions are being made that directly impacts our day-to-day living.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Presley,
Yeah.
talking, you've been on a table. Do you think any of the actual budget they put out is not good for people with disability?
It's just,
So yeah.
both from an organizational level and from a person on the scheme as well, and a person on DSP, it's not the best. You know, they spend quite a lot of time asking for feedback, asking for, saying they will look into core design and all of those things. And when the day comes, they just drop all of that. They kick that out the window. So it's kind of, it does send a mixed message. Yes, we are being given a seat on the table, but it's just a seat to smile and wave. It's just a seat to sit there. It's not really a seat where a lot of the feedback that we're giving, a lot of the surveys and everything we're putting forward is still being ignored by and large.
So you're just there to listen.
For the most part, we're there for the aesthetics.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on the people? What are your thoughts on them investing in women getting
That will come later.
for
So assistance like for domestic violence and stuff?
domestic violence?
Okay. As opposed to like a man getting assistance?
As opposed to men and people with disability getting assistance.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
From a lot of the surveys we've done from our members for PWDA, we know that we in that area we have huge numbers of our members that have suffered domestic abuse or interpersonal violence or domestic violence, partner abuse as well. And we know that it affects a lot of our members. And some of that is where a lot of it is being channeled to just address the domestic violence. A lot of it does not then go into addressing the domestic violence, the family aspect of it as well. So if a family wants to flee, for example, if a family that is, if a husband or a wife wants to flee a situation where they're facing violence and they have a child in a wheelchair, none of the crisis accommodations cater for the child in a wheelchair. So that aspect is still not being looked at. A lot of funding and a lot of core design still needs to go into that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also shouldn't be just one-sided. Female,
No,
just male.
no, and for the longest of time, it's something that is obviously is something that needs some work on a systemic kind of level, because even when the funding gets poured, the funding is going to have strict criterias, and some of those criteria might have to do with what gender you identify with, so that's still those things still need to be addressed, because it's not just one gender that faces that, and it's not just one gender that's coming to advocacies and DROs asking for assistance. So that's something that needs to be set down and be talked about at length.
Yeah. No, it's good that you asked the question, David, and yeah, thank you for your response, Presley. Also, let's focus now on meeting basic needs and housing access. So, in terms of looking at the budget provisions aimed at addressing the cost of living crisis, sorry, faced by people with disability. Yes. So, how are the people at PWDA addressing this?
We're still looking into it, but again, President Maraiki was on the ABC, and it's in somewhat in a roundabout kind of way. We're being given with the left hand, and it's being taken with the right hand. So if we don't get an increase on DSP, and we are acknowledging in the budget that it's currently a very competitive rental market at the moment, then the two do not tally, because all this housing that you're going to build and all of that, it's number one being built in things like apartment blocks, where access is just not being taken into consideration at all. It's being built far away from medical centers. It's being built far away from the infrastructure that people require. So a lot of there's not a lot of it.
The house for people with wheelchairs.
Go ahead, Presley, sorry. Yeah, no, it's a good point, David. So yeah, the infrastructure, you gotta also take into consideration people that are, wheelchair users, make it accessible for everyone. Yeah, a good point. By the way, when we talk about enhancing the quality and safeguards, so in regards to the overview of the NDIS reviews recommendations for expanding the remit of the NDIS Quality and Safeguards Commission. So what are your thoughts on that?
There needs to be there need to be a good separation, because right now what's happening is the quality and safeguards still work for the NDIA. So whenever we have that, we do have a lot of issues where, one parent writes the paper, the child takes the exam, they fail, you complain about it, and the other parent fixes the problem. It's all within one organization. There needs to be good separation. And At the moment, the quality and safeguards, the way it's structured, the way it carries itself, is solely for providers. We want to see a lot more of them actually looking at things from participants' point of view, actually doing a lot more core design. At the moment, the quality and safeguards do a lot of policing on behalf of the NDIA and on behalf of participants, but we don't want them to do a lot of policing. We want them to come to the table and actually ask people with disabilities what the issues we are facing on a daily basis are with registered providers. Because a lot of what's happening is they are giving metro providers and regional and rural providers the same treatment, whereas we know from the price guide, from the pricing schedule, that we have MMM ratings, because those are different. So the rules should also be different. But there hasn't been a lot of engagement between.
It should be treated differently, because everyone's got a different disability, and you can't put all in one category.
It's not. It can't fall in one bucket.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is we want to see a lot more of the quality and safeguards being able to go, okay, if I'm having an issue with a provider and I'm having an issue with an internal review, to be able to have a third party in there that we can throw in. And we want to see something from the quality and safeguards in that space. We want to actually see them engaging with DROs.
So what was that, David? A hierarchy?
A hierarchy where people overlook everything. And there's checkpoints where this person they're not being treated the way they need to be treated. They look into their service and what can be fixed.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
at the moment, whilst they're redesigning it, one of the things that I would like to see personally would be them actually not waiting to investigate only critical incidences, because there's a lot of times where there's five things being reported about a provider by 5 different participants, but they have a risk matrix that they work on. If that doesn't hit too high on their risk matrix, they ignore that. They want to wait until someone has been put in hospital, or God forbid someone has passed away, before they go to action. We want to see if it's being funded more. We definitely want to walk away from that.
Yeah. But allow like early intervention if necessary to avoid these things.
Taking a more preventative approach.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Taking more of a proactive and preventative approach.
Yes, taking more of a proactive and a preventative approach.
Yeah.
To the way things are done as well. So to I guess prevent these things from actually happening.
Yeah.
Very good point there.
But the only way they can achieve that is we're telling them the things that the telltale signs of how they can spot a bad provider from a mile away. it's only the participants that know what's happening, because we're the ones that are receiving these services on an hourly basis. So we do know quite a lot, but we haven't seen the quality and safeguards, say, have a participants panel.
Yes, no, that's a very, I guess, valid, good point.
Presley, I was watching TV yesterday, and they were talking about people getting $300 grant for electricity. Even if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you still get it.
Yep.
Do you think that's fair?
Not at all. Not at all.
Still get it?
Not at all.
If you don't need it,
again, so what happens is these are the issues that create an us and them situation, where when it was grants during COVID, we had to fill out paperwork, we had to submit something and show our incomes and all of that. But now this $300, these millionaires don't have to show that they earn over $1 million. They just get it whenever they want. No, they just get it automatically. Sorry, they just get it by default. And a lot of other people have had this conversation and this argument with. They've said, "Oh well, look, we pay a lot of tax." Yeah, you do, but you're paying that tax out of $5 million. What's 300 gonna do? Are you gonna notice the 300 come into your account? Because I certainly know I will. Are you gonna notice the 300 on top of your 1 million? You're gonna notice the 1,300,000. It's this is the unfair distribution of wealth that a lot of people don't like, that a lot of people complain about. It's a beautiful thing. Realistically, it should have been it would have, we could have apportioned it better. We could have started by at least giving it to everyone that we know receive payments, because we have means tested those people. We know how much those people earn. Start from there and then have everyone else apply for the rebates.
Or do you think it's just a grab just to get more votes?
It's a voters thing. It's unfortunately that's what it boils down to. It's a voting thing, because every solution that I can come up with to make sure that someone who's a millionaire isn't being nagged by the SMS from MyGov to say they need to log into their MyGov. I don't even know if millionaires have MyGov or not. But to avoid us nagging millionaires, we could have just kept that $300 and not done that to them. But because we on track,
so
yep. Let's get back on track. So thank you for answering the question, David, and thank you for answering. Give us your insight, Presley. Now, moving on to disability employment services reform. So, tell us about the budget allocations for the reform of disability employment services and supports. Sorry, before we get into that, what does the $14.4 million forecast reduction in growth for NDIS mean for the participants?
It spells trouble. It's just.
Couldn't have said it better yourself.
It spells trouble.
What do you mean by
And it's really good that we've gone from the $300 rebate straight into that cap. Because before the budget was announced, the one thing that was in the media the whole time was, we've got a budget surplus, we've got a budget surplus. They could not shout it from a higher mountain, only to come in and say, no, we want to keep the NDIS. It's getting out of control. Well, but you've got a budget surplus, don't you? You haven't increased DSP.
Yep.
You haven't done much to get us housing. You want to go back into putting people into shared homes. You want to regress and renege on your promises and cancel. And you essentially, what that does is that's a start to canceling the NDIS.
Yep. That's a good point.
If we start taking budgets,
Yes, you go on.
Thank you for that. Do you have any questions, David?
Well, with NDIS, is that gonna be affected by the new budget?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it will affect it some way. Well, we'll just see when the budget actually comes out.
It came
Yeah.
out on Tuesday.
Alright, sorry, we'll move on. So, explanation of the new specialist disability employment programs. So, replacing the disability employment services program. So, yeah, Luca, what are your thoughts on that? Presley?
It's that sector was 50-50. That sector had a few cowboys and obviously a lot of supported employment across the board, across the industry. We did have a lot of issues with, disabled people being put into a job and getting $10 a week, when the bus is costing them $5 to and from work every day. So hopefully with the restructuring, we hope to see the change that people have been crying for. We hope to see the change of actually starting to get people with disabilities meaningful and enjoyable employment, not just going and hiding them somewhere. We want to start seeing a little bit more engagement from, not a little bit, quite a lot more engagement from the private sector, to start seeing a lot more people with disabilities engaged in meaningful employment, in gainful employment.
When a person with disability, when a person has employment, they feel useful. They feel better about themselves. And that's what we will do for people with disability. They feel
that fulfillment is very important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
Mental health.
Yes. So yeah, all
instead
links.
of going out every day and just eating, you're going out, yeah, but you're not doing much.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and
it's a very good point.
It builds meaningful relationship. You engage with your community. You build more supports. You enlarge your circle. It ticks quite a lot of boxes when it's done properly.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Let's move on. So, explain, in terms of reviewing the budget measures aimed at increasing housing accessibility and affordability. So, discuss on the impact of rising costs of living on both individuals and with disabilities, and the need for. Sorry, it's been cut off. And I guess the need for more affordable housing.
It's again, it's another point of contention with the budget wanting to be kept, because as we have seen so far, the one of the areas that the NDIA really wants to tighten on the budget is accommodation. So your special SDAs and your SEALs, they really want to clamp down on that. And at the end of the day, yes, a lot of providers are crying about it, but at the end of the day, people with disabilities are always going to be the losers out of all of it.
Yeah.
So now what happens is
So
the government,
for the viewers,
the government
go
is
ahead.
just passing the buck. They did. It's good that they did put money towards housing and allocated a certain percentage towards accessible housing. But is it enough? What's going to be the criteria? Where are these houses going to be built?
Yeah.
The question is, if they do build new houses, wouldn't it be harder for someone with disability to move to somewhere away from their relatives and the people they know?
So that is the $1 million question of where are these houses going to be built? Are they going to be near my supports? Are they going to be near my job? Are they going to be near my family? Are they going to be near my favorite river to go fishing? Or will I have to move across the state? I'll either move across the state to get to the housing, or I'm homeless.
And surely you don't want that, because
No.
it just provides isolation. Sorry about that. But thank you very much, Presley, for that. So, just provide us a summary of the key takeaways from the analysis of the Australian federal budget's impact on disability initiatives.
It's on a day-to-day basis. We didn't score a lot of wins, and certainly what we were hoping for, what we're going for, is the budget taking into consideration the NDIS review and the Royal Commission, and fusing all of those findings and funding it accordingly. But coming out and putting a cap on it just means, well, it's a rinse and repeat cycle. We're going to need another Royal Commission, because once there's a cap on how much the scheme can spend, that's just going to negatively impact people with disabilities, because that's when plans start getting cut with no good reasons. That's when more people start having to go to the AAT. That's when all the difficult things start happening.
Yeah.
It's got good commitments. It's got housing.
Now, what you say, David?
So you think it needs an overcover again? So overlook it.
Yeah, overall.
An overall.
I mean,
So it should be conservative to the people with disability.
Yeah, thank you, David. Presley, thoughts?
we received the short end of the stick. You know, people with disabilities didn't come out on top in this budget.
Yeah. Yeah, now,
But we did,
thank you very much for your insight.
The organization, people with disabilities, did get a bit of a win. For the longest, 1 in 3 of our members identify as LGBTQTI plus, and for the longest of time, we didn't have a body that was combining disabilities with both. So DSS got a bit of funding, and they're gonna go with people with disabilities to be one of the peak bodies in Australia. So that's a bit of a win. It is a far cry though, because if we don't have the crisis accommodation, if we don't have the follow-up services, then a lot of this will fall by the wayside.
Right, thank you very much for that. We did get a bit of the win, but there's still a long way to go in terms of making it more inclusive for people with disability.
What's
So, Jonathan,
the call for action? Where to from here and continued advocacy and engagement in shaping policies that prioritize the needs of people with disability.
That's it. And that's what I was saying. We're going to be pushing quality and safeguards to go. Well, look, we understand your boss is the NDIS, but don't prioritize them. Prioritize participants, because without them, you're not going to exist. So keep that participant engagement the highest thing on the list, the top of the list, always.
Cool. Thank you very much for sharing with us, Fizzy.
Thank you very much for having me.
Insight into the budget and how it
Beautiful.
affects people with disability. Look, we're very sorry for the IT issues, but it happens every now and then. But we always welcome back to give us an update on the budget and how it affects people with disability.
Definitely. If you have me, I look forward to coming back. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. With less IT issues. For everyone out there, you'll be watching CripChat, your weekly podcast on disability. Goodbye for now.